Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you have ever felt that absolute heart-dropping panic of a broken link, a leaked API key, or a totally messy style guide somehow making it all the way into production, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking the ultimate, multi-layered, governed Docs as Code workflow. Let's be real for a second and acknowledge the absolute chaos of inconsistent documentation. I mean, when you've got multiple writers, subject matter experts, and developers all throwing their contributions into the docs, things get messy fast. You end up with mismatched terminology, broken links, or worse, accidental security leaks. So the big question is, how do you guarantee pristine, high-quality documentation every single time you merge a pull request? Well, the answer is a highly structured, automated assembly line. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start by mapping out the PR journey, then hit checkpoint 1 with Vale, move on to checkpoint 2 with the AI review, break down the whole deterministic versus contextual debate, and finally, look at the final human check. All right, let's kick things off with part 1, starting the PR journey. This standard Docs as Code workflow is going to be our baseline. It mimics the exact same process used in modern software engineering. You know the drill. You create a branch, you edit a Markdown file in your Docs folder, you commit, and you push. But step 4 is where the magic actually happens. The second a pull request is created in GitHub, it acts as this digital tripwire. It instantly triggers GitHub Actions to start running automated checks in the background, specifically targeting only the files you just changed. Moving right along to part 2, checkpoint 1, Vale. So, the PR is open, and the very first machine on our assembly line fires up. Meet Vale. Vale is an automated writing quality checker purpose-built for documentation. Now, it's super important to understand what Vale is not. It is not going to try and rewrite your entire document like ChatGPT or Grammarly might. Instead, think of it exactly like a code linter, but for your pros. Its entire job is to consistently enforce your organization's unique writing rules across hundreds of writers and thousands of documents. What is it actually looking for? Well, Vale is purely hunting for stylistic violations based on your company's specific style guide. It systematically tracks down incorrect terminology, catches those embarrassing repeated words like the, and flags disallowed words, like say your company policy forbids the word utilize. It checks that product names are capitalized consistently, flags sentences that are just way too long, checks heading punctuation, calls out passive voice, and yeah, it catches your basic spelling mistakes too. And this is a brilliant illustration of what Vale actually adds to your workflow. Instead of a human having to meticulously scan for passive voice, Vale just automatically drops a persistent report directly into the pull request conversation. You get a status, yellow for warnings here, and it points to the exact file and line number. On line 24, it flags a violation of the Microsoft.passive rule and tells the writer to use active voice. It's immediate, it's objective, and it's incredibly efficient. Okay, let's level up. Part 3, checkpoint 2, the AI review. Once Vale has made sure the words are spelled right and follow the style guide, the AI review steps in. If Vale is the spell checker, the AI is the thinker on the factory floor. It's an analysis layer that looks way beyond the mechanics of sentence structure. It's checking the prose for actual meaning, the validity of your claims, and potential risks, making absolutely sure the content is logical and safe to publish. This is where the heavy lifting happens, the kind of meaning-based analysis a senior technical editor usually has to do. Have you ever accidentally published a misleading claim? The AI checks for that. Is a procedure logically correct? Does Section A completely contradict Section B? If you're citing statistics, is there evidence to back them up? Crucially, it's scanning for exposed security information, and it'll even flag if the content is so sensitive that you need a subject matter expert to formally sign off on it. So just like Vale, the AI adds its own separate report right into the PR. But look at the difference in severity here. This is a red alert critical issue on line 31. The AI actually detected a contextual risk, a hard-coded password. And it doesn't just point it out, it categorizes it as a risk and tells the writer exactly what to do. Remove the password and use GitHub secrets instead. This is high-level cognitive filtering happening automatically, way before a human ever looks at the PR. Which brings us to a really crucial concept. Part 4, deterministic versus contextual. To really nail this governed workflow, we absolutely have to understand the fundamental difference between our two checkpoints. Vale is completely deterministic. It runs on strict, predefined rules. If you have a rule that says, swap the word click for select, Vale will blindly and perfectly execute that rule every single time it sees the word. It has zero idea what the sentence actually means, it just follows the rules. The AI review, on the other hand, is contextual. It's not doing hard-coded word swaps. It's analyzing the overall meaning, the logical flow from paragraph to paragraph. It's spotting unsupported claims and actually understanding the context behind a security risk. It really boils down to this. Vale should not replace your AI review. They have to run alongside each other. Because their roles don't overlap, you simply cannot swap one for the other and still expect comprehensive quality control. If you only use AI, you are going to miss strict style guide enforcement, because AI is notoriously unpredictable with formatting rules. But if you only use Vale, you'll miss massive logical flaws and security risks, because Vale literally cannot read for meaning. For a truly governed workflow, you need both running in tandem.
And finally, we arrive at part 5, the final human check.
Right before you, the human, actually look at this work, the automation has one last job. Tools like MkDocs step in to build the actual documentation website and generate the PDFs. Why do we care about this? Because it validates the publishing process. I mean, there's literally nothing worse than perfectly styled, totally logical documentation that just gives your users a 404 error. This step ensures that site navigation is intact, no pages are missing, no links are broken, and the Markdown perfectly converts into the final product. So, let's zoom out and look at the whole shebang. This matrix perfectly summarizes a strong documentation governance model, showing how every single tool has a highly specialized job on the assembly line. GitHub Actions is the engine running the factory. Vale enforces the style standards. The AI review analyzes the deep meaning and risks. MkDocs validates that the website will actually build. And finally, sitting at the very end of this beautifully organized line is the human reviewer. Because at the end of the day, a human is always the final authority. By the time you actually review this pull request, you aren't wasting your time hunting for broken links or chasing down passive voice or exposed API keys. The robots handled all of that. You are now completely free to make these strategic, editorial, and technical decisions that literally only a human mind can make. So ask yourself, is your team currently wasting its precious human intelligence doing the job of a deterministic robot? Or are you ready to implement this workflow and finally make the final call?